When you think of the richest person to ever live, your mind might go to someone like Elon Musk or maybe Jeff Bezos or a member of the royal family. I mean, considering all the ways the rich of today figured out how to keep churning out money and growing their wealth, there's no way the richest person to ever live isn't alive today. Well, what if we tell you that this man actually walked the earth 700 years ago in Africa? Crazy, right? But who was this man? Let's get right into finding that out in today's video of History 101. Mansa Musa, or Mansa I, was the ruler of the Kingdom of Mali from 1312 CE to 1337 CE. During his reign, Mali became one of the richest kingdoms in the world. Mansa was born into a family of rulers and came into power after his brother disappeared in the sea. Before Mansa took control of the throne, the kingdom was already pretty wealthy. His work in expanding the trade made Mali one of the wealthiest kingdoms. During his rule, Mansa saw his kingdom spread rapidly as he conquered 24 cities that became a part of his realm. This ancient kingdom spread across parts of modern-day Mali, along with Senegal, the Gambia, Guinea, Nigeria, Chad, Burkina Faso, and others. Archaeologists reported that it would take months to travel from one end of his empire to the other end. This indicates that it was indeed a massive empire which brought great resources with it, most notably gold and salt. This abundance of resources made Mansa the richest individual in the world. His wealth is estimated at a worth for today at $4.6 trillion. So basically, he was so rich that the historians couldn't fully count his wealth. Rudolf Ware, an associate professor of history at the University of Michigan, explains that Musa's riches were so immense that people couldn't describe them. But what did the man do with all this incalculable wealth? Mansa Musa developed cities like Timbuktu and Gao into cultural centers. He also called architects from the Middle East and across Africa to design new buildings for the cities. Mansa Musa turned the Kingdom of Mali into a sophisticated and cultured region that stood out from the rest of the world at that time. You might be wondering where he got the money for such expenses. Continue watching as we'll be discussing this next. His wealth was a result of his empire's vast natural resources. The West African nation was responsible for more than half of the world's salt and gold supply. His riches came from mining significant salt and gold deposits in the Mali Kingdom. Another major source of his wealth was the elephant ivory. Gold and ivory as key contributors in wealth is understandable, but salt? Well, you see, back then, salt was much more of a commodity. Before the age of refrigerator and supermarket shelves stocked with seasonings from all over the world, salting was one of the only ways to preserve food and add a little bit of flavor. Salt was worth its weight in gold back then, and Musa's empire supplied half of the world's total salt. Apart from building infrastructures, Musa contributed significantly in education and literacy of the region in his reign. Not only did he focus on making his great empire rich, but also emphasized education and learning for the people of his empire. Musa established the first university of the region in the city of Timbuktu, which went by the name University of Sankore. He built several educational institutes and brought scholars, astronomers, and jurists from all over the world for the people of Mali to be facilitated from their wisdom. Since Mansa Musa was a devoted Muslim, he made great efforts to establish Islamic learning centers all over his empire and passionately supported the cause of religion. He reportedly built one of the largest libraries in the world at the University of Sankore and brought around 400,000 books and manuscripts from all over the world. Seeing this, students and inquisitive intellectuals from the Middle East and North Africa were attracted in large numbers to the region. The University of Sankore could accommodate 25,000 students at once. This massive educational work by King Mansa awoke the desire for knowledge in the people of Mali, and they started opening their private learning institutes as well as libraries at a local level. The richest man in the world's 2-year pilgrimage to Mecca between 1324-1325 for Hajj is legendary, and Mansa Musa is well known for this great and notable feat. He started preparing for this great trip several months prior to and made sure to take everything necessary for the journey. His journey reportedly included 60,000 men, including 12,000 slaves who each carried 1.8 kilograms of gold bars, and heralds dressed in silks who bore gold staff, organized horses, and handled bags. Musa provided all necessities for the procession, feeding the entire company of men and animals. there were reportedly 80 camels, which each carried 23 to 136 kilograms of gold dust. Gus Casley-Hafer, director of the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of African Art, said that their journey was like a whole city moving through the desert. When they stopped at night, it looked like someone had placed a bustling town in the middle of the desert.
And he traveled with a retinue of thousands.
As the generous leader that he was, he gave the gold to the poor he met along his route to Mecca, including Cairo and Medina. It was reported that he built a mosque every Friday whenever his caravan stopped. Musa's generous actions ended up inadvertently wreaking havoc on the economies of the regions through which he passed. When he reached Cairo, he flooded the city with his presence. He met the Sultan of Egypt and his emirs and gifted them so much gold that they kept spending until the value of gold was greatly depressed.
He flooded Cairo with kindness, spending so much in the markets of North Africa and the Middle East that it affected the price of gold into the next decade.
Apart from Cairo, the economies of the cities such as Medina and Mecca were also affected, and the sudden influx of gold devalued the metal for at least the next 10 years. Prices on goods and wares were greatly inflated. To rectify the gold market, on his way back from Mecca, the man borrowed all the gold he could carry from moneylenders in Cairo at high interest. Musa became famous all over the world for his journey to Mecca. Because of his generosity and wealth, many people were inspired by him and wanted to know him. Among these people was a Spanish mapmaker who created the famous Catalan Atlas and included Musa in it, quite literally. Musa can be shown on the map sitting on a throne with a gold brick in his hand. After his return from Mecca, Mansa Musa began to revitalize cities in his kingdom. He focused on the development of his territories and hired the best architects and construction experts from across the world. With their help, he built beautiful mosques and large public buildings in cities like Gao and Timbuktu. He built a Hall of the Audience in the capital city of Niani, a building that was connected to the royal palace by an interior door. The exterior aesthetics of this admirable monument was a sight to behold at the time. It was adorned with striking colors, and a beautiful dome was put at the top. Among the numerous mosques that he built, the most notable was the Mosque of the Jungerberge, a famous Islamic learning center in the city of Timbuktu. Abu Ishaq al-Saheli, the architect who developed the design for this mosque, was given a hefty reward of 200 kilograms pure gold, as well as a swathi of land by King Mansa. Al-Saheli helped the king in better urban planning and modernized architecture for the cities. Under Mansa's reign, Timbuktu turned into one of the holiest cities in the Islamic world, with numerous Islamic learning centers and mosques being built there. Musa's great work for Islam resulted in the widespread of the religion across the African region, and even some of the emperors of that time accepted Islam. Due to Musa's investment in Africa and neighboring regions, the reputation of the Mali kingdom grew. In the 14th century, when most of Europe was affected by plague and war, while the Roman Empire had just collapsed, the Kingdom of Mali had reached its greatest extent as the only prominent empire in the world. It became a bustling and wealthy kingdom thanks to the king's expansion and administration. The correct death date of Musa is still debatable, as argued by multiple historians. Some say that he died right after returning from Mecca, while others claim that he passed away after his son Mansa Mangan came into power in 1337. At the time of his death, he left his empire at incredible heights. The economy was booming and the administration was as strong as ever. However, the empire eventually fell apart as Musa's successor couldn't compete with him in administering the kingdom. His son's reign only lasted for 4 years, and he was overthrown by his uncle Mansa Suleiman in 1341. After all, Mansa Musa remains ingrained in the imagination of the world as a symbol of immense wealth, even today. That's all for today. See you next time with a new mystery to unravel. And until then, goodbye.